Meanwhile, the detective sits with the hero and questions him about a wound on his hand, noting that it healed unnaturally fast. He presses him for answers, but the hero, visibly uneasy, refuses to say anything and leaves. Suspicious, the detective secretly takes the hero's juice cup and decides to run a DNA test on it. Later, the heroine recalls that she managed to wound the criminal on his neck during the attack. She informs the detective, believing that the injury must have left a mark. The detective follows up on the lead and confirms that the nurse's boyfriend, the only suspect in the case, has a wound on his neck. With this evidence, they arrest him, revealing that he was the serial killer responsible for murdering the women. The victims' families, including the nurse's loved ones, are devastated and furious, wanting revenge. The results of the hero's DNA test come in, and the doctor is shocked. It turns out there is no record of him anywhere. This is an unprecedented case. The detective is stunned, realizing that the hero is not an ordinary human. At that moment, the hero is seen meeting with a hypnotist. The hypnotist tells the hero that he discovered the heroine is seeing the memories of his lover, who died 30 years ago. The hero is shocked by this revelation and takes the file from him. Later, as he reads through it, he is stunned to find that the heroine is recounting moments that happened between him and his deceased lover. She even loves the same thing she did. It finally clicks. This is why he has always felt drawn to her. Now, he is sure that she was reborn in the heroine's body. Determined to see her, he rushes to her home, but her friend tells him she has gone to the mountain because she realized she had one last chance. When he calls out to her, she runs toward him and embraces him, confirming that he is indeed her lost love. The detective witnesses this moment, and memories of himself as a prince flood back. Overcome with jealousy, he watches in silence. The hero takes the heroine home, and she is overjoyed that he has finally confessed his feelings. Now that they are together, they decide to officially start their relationship and make up for all the time they spent apart. Later, the hero meets with the detective and firmly tells him that he loves the heroine and will never leave her again, no matter what. The detective gets angry because he knows the hero isn't human. He calls the heroine and warns her to stay away from him. Claiming he is an alien, she of course doesn't believe him. Alien? Are you serious? The next day, the heroine waits for the hero outside her house, excited for their day together. He takes her to the orphanage where she grew up, bringing gifts for the children. They spend a joyful time playing with the kids, growing even closer. While talking to the orphanage director, the heroine learns something shocking. The hero looks exactly like the detective who handled a case 30 years ago. He is his son. Meanwhile, the hero is in the storage room when he finds an old document labeled The 7 Deadly Sins. Shocked, he asks the director about it. She explains that it belonged to the former orphanage head who treated the children terribly. In fact, she forced them to write down their sins in red notebooks. Some tried to report her to the police, but before anything could be done, a fire broke out 30 years ago, and she supposedly died in it. The hero then visits the prison table. He goes to meet the convicted criminal. He asks if he really killed the orphanage director. However, the man looks terrified and refuses to answer. The hero pieces it together. The real criminal is the orphanage director herself, who faked her death. The convicted man was just an orphan under her care, forced into aiding her crimes. Realizing that the heroine's life might be in danger, the hero rushes to save her. At that moment, the heroine is at the clinic when a mysterious man walks in. His face is hidden, and he is accompanied by a dog. The heroine is startled when she sees him. But don't worry, dear viewer, because at that moment, she sees familiar faces, her family from her past life. She feels an unexplainable connection to them. The dog is in critical condition, so the heroine performs surgery, managing to save its life. She reassures them that the dog will recover. It turns out that the detective met them on the way and brought them to the clinic. The heroine finally arrives, anxious about the heroine's safety, but she assures him that she is fine. Then, the mysterious family members recognize the hero immediately. They were the family of his former lover. They stare at him in disbelief, noticing his uncanny resemblance to the detective who investigated their daughter's case 30 years ago. However, they soon realize their mistake, and the hero calms them with his words, convincing them to leave peacefully. But the detective remains suspicious. The tension between the hero and the detective escalates into an argument. The heroine, frustrated, begs them to stop fighting and just get along. But the detective refuses. He is convinced the hero is an alien. The next day, he returns to the police station and re-examines the old case files. He notices that witnesses describe the murderer as a short man, but the one they arrested was tall. This leads him to conclude that the real culprit had an accomplice. Determined to uncover the truth, he decides to visit the hypnotist to recover memories of his own past life. The detective begins to see his past memories and realizes that he was once a prince. At the same time, the heroine visits the hero's old house and finds her rings, along with the paintings she had drawn in her past life. As she looks around, memories begin to flood back. When she steps outside, she is surprised to find that the hero has decorated the garden with the lights and flowers she loves. He now fully understands that she was his lover in their past life, and this time he refuses to lose her again. He takes her to her family's home, though they don't recognize her as their daughter. Her mother, wanting to thank her for saving their dog, invites her to stay for dinner. Inside her old room, she sees pictures of herself with her childhood friends. Memories of her school days come rushing back, along with the painful realization that she died young. Overwhelmed, she breaks down in tears. During dinner, her family is happy to have her around. She asks them to consider her as their daughter and allow her to visit them whenever she can. The hero, deeply moved, feels sorry for her. She grew up in an orphanage, longing for a family. After dinner, he walks her home. The heroine thanks him, saying that she now sees him as her family and is grateful to have him in her life. Suddenly, his hand begins to glow. Strangely, the heroine reassures him, saying that she loves him regardless of what he is. She moves closer and kisses him. Meanwhile, the detective visits the hero's old house and finds the paintings that the heroine had drawn in her past life. He confronts the hero, demanding the truth. He shows him the drawings and asks if the girl in the paintings is the heroine. The hero finally gives in and tells him everything. The truth is that he was a prince, and the heroine was once a servant under him. However, he once tried to kill her. The detective is stunned by this revelation. The next morning, the heroine wakes up in a panic, fearing that the hero has disappeared. Unable to bear the thought of losing him, she calls him, and to her relief, he answers. He is still here. Elsewhere, the police discover a new victim's body. With it, they find a red notebook containing the words, "Sin of illness." The authorities interrogate the imprisoned criminal, but he refuses to talk. He appears extremely anxious, repeatedly saying that the prison is safer than the outside world.